Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sapna Dadwal. I'm working as a professor in the Department of Management. This is my lecture 13 of Business Law and of Unit 3. This is the subject which is taught in BBA 4th semester. The topics I am going to cover in this lecture are meaning and definition of contract of agency, essentials of contract of agency, meaning of agent, who may be an agent, classification of agents, difference between agent and servant, then difference between agent and independent contractor. These are the topics I am going to discuss in this video lecture number 13. Now I am starting with the definition of contract of agency. The law of agency is based on the principle of Latin maxima qui facit per alium facit per se, which means he who does an act through another does it by himself. The law of agency is contained in section 182 to 238 under chapter 10th of the Indian Contract Act 1872. The term agency has not been defined in Indian Contract 1872, but a general definition may be guessed on the basis of provisions of agency given in the Indian Contract Act 1872. So, a contract of agency means it is a relation in which a person employs another person to do any act for him or to represent him in dealing with third persons so as to bind himself by the act of such another person. So this is the definition. In English law, a contract of agency is defined as the employment of one person by another in order to bring the latter into legal relation with the third person. So now the general rules of contract of agency are, so whatever the first rule is, whatever the principal can do by himself, he may get the same done through an agent, except when the act involved is of personal nature. If the act is of personal nature, then a principal cannot employ a agent or cannot delegate his authority to an agent to do that personal nature work. The second general rule is, what a person does by another, he does by himself. Thus, the act of agent are the act of principal. So, very clear from this that whatever an agent will do, that will be treated as an act of principal only. Example is, A appoints B a broker to sell his flat on his behalf. Here A is the principal and B is his agent. The relationship between A and B is called as agency. Now, essentials of contract of agency. The following are the essentials of contract of agency. First one is agreement, contractual capacity, consideration, privity of contract between principal and third party, essential element of valid contract. I'm starting with first, agreement. To form a contract of agency, there must be an agreement between principal and agent, which leads to creation of relationship of agency. Thus, the contract of agency is based on the true nature of relationship. Such agreement may be express or implied, or by operation of law, or by intention of the parties. So, agreement can be from these ways, but there must be an agreement between the principal and an agent. Now, the second essential is consideration. So, according to section 185 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, no consideration is required to create an agency. Agency is not a subcategory of contract law. So, not all consensual relationships belong to the law of contracts. So, although agent and principal often create contracts on their relationship, and these relationships are mutual, and sometimes there is no consideration. between the principal and agent. The third one is privity of the contract between principal and third party. An agent acts on the behalf of his principal. He establishes privity of contract between principal and third party. So is a link between principal and third party. So whatever he does on behalf of his principal within the scope of authority given to him is treated as a work or acts done by the principal himself. So principal has binding to those acts to third parties, whichever is done by agent because of his authority or authority given to him. Then fourth one is contractual capacity. The principal must be competent to enter into contract. He must be of sound mind. He must be of age of majority, that is above 18 years of age. But it is not necessary to have such capacity for an agent. Agent can be a minor. So a minor can be agent. Then essential element of valid contract. The contract of agency must fulfill all other essential conditions of valid contract, which I have discussed in my lecture 1. You can see there what are the essentials of valid contract. So contract of agency 2 should have all the essentials of valid contract. Now the next topic is definition of agent. So what is agent? Who's agent? According to section 182 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, an agent is a person employed to do any act for another or to represent another in dealing with third persons. An agent is a connecting link between the principal and a third parties, or thereby establishes the privity of a contract between them. Then comes the question, who may be an agent? Any person who is authorized to act as such may be an agent. As the agent doesn't make a contract on his behalf, it is not necessary he should have contractual capacity. Even a minor can become or may become an agent. But no person is not the age of majority and sound mind is responsible to his principal. So agent, if he is minor or he is of unsound mind, he is not responsible to his principal. Then the next topic is classifications of agent. There are 2 categories in it. First one is from the point of view of extent of authority. Under this, there are 3 categories: general agent, special agent, and universal agent. Then second category is from the point of view of nature of work. Under this, there are 2 mainly categories: mercantile agent and non-mercantile agents. And mercantile agents are further divided into 6 parts: broker agent, factor agent, auctioneer, commission agent, bill trader agent, and then banker agent. Now I'm starting with the discussion of all these classification of agent. I'm starting with first point, that is from the point of view of extent of authority. The first one is general agent. An agent granted authority to do everything necessary for a particular business or venture would be called a general agent. Like managing director of the company would wield the wide authority, actual as well as perceived, to perform his work. Then comes second category, special agent. An agent appointed to do a particular act would be a special agent. For example, a lawyer appointed to handle a case in the court or broker to purchase a property. These are the examples of special agent. Then the third one is universal agent. An agent which is granted unlimited power to do things on behalf of the principal in all fields are called as universal agents. Now the second main category is from the point of view of nature of work. Under this, the first one is mercantile agent. The term has been defined by section 2(9) of the Sale of Goods Act as follows. According to Sales of Goods Act, mercantile agent means an agent having an customary course of business. As such, agent's authority either to sell goods or to consign goods for a purpose of sale, or to buy goods or to raise money on the securities of goods. So this is the definition of the mercantile agent as per the contract of sale of goods. The Sale of Goods Act, section 2(9) of the Sale of Goods Act. So the following are different types of mercantile agent. Under this, the first one is broker. A broker is any kind of middleman who brings two persons or sides together and arranges for an agreement between them. Either it can be a commercial deal or it can be a peace agreement between two varying nations or groups. In business deals, a broker generally helps the parties in making an agreement. His job as a broker is over with making an agreement, and he need not look after the fulfillment of terms of the contract. Now, second category is a factor. A factor is an agent whose primary duty is to sell principal's goods entrusted to him. A factor usually sells goods of his principal on his own name. He can exercise general lien over principal's goods for his claims upon the latter. Now the third one is auctioneer. An auctioneer is a person who conducts an auction for the sale of goods of another person. He starts his work as an agent of only the seller, but after the highest bid has been accepted, he becomes the agent of the purchaser also. Then comes commission agent. And commission agent is one who buys or sells goods for a distinct or a foreign principal and performs his duty in his own name. For example, D of India orders K of England to buy some goods for him. K buys the right goods at the right price from a person R in England and ships them for D. There is no privity of contract between D and R, but both have rights and duties in relation to K only. Then the next category is del creditor agent. The term del creditor means entrusting. Del creditor agent may give a personal guarantee to the principal that if the buyer defaults in making payment of the price, he would himself make payment to him. Generally, agents, they are not responsible for any defaults from the buyer side, but del creditor agent, he gives his personal guarantee to the principal. Now comes banker agent. Banker acts as an agent of the customers too when it collects the checks or drafts on behalf of its customer. Now, the second category is non-mercantile agent. Non-mercantile agents are those who represent their principal in transactions which do not deal in sale or purchase of goods. Example, a secretary of a company deals with third parties while representing the company, or a lawyer representing the client in a courtroom. So these are examples of non-mercantile agent. Now comes there's a difference between agent and servant. Agent has the authority to create contractual relationship between the principal and third parties. He may work for several principals at a time and he usually get commission. Whereas servant, He has no such authority. He generally works for one master at a time and he gets salary or wages for his work. Then, difference between agent and independent contractor. Agent works under the control and supervision of the principal. He is not personally liable for the acts done by him if he has acted within the scope of his authority. He usually get commission for his work. Whereas independent contractor, he works independently of control of the person for whom he does the work. He is personally liable for all his acts and usually gets the fixed contracted amount. Now these are the questions which are related to the above topics. If any query is there, please do contact me and please ignore the writing mistakes. There are some writing mistakes in this, but please ignore that. Thank you so much.